On today's episode of the K-Swap 240 presented by Turn 14 Distribution,
we install an oil cooler and we fix this hot mess.
today we are installing a 19-row coil rad oil cooler. But before we even get into this, we need to take care of this. And this is the factory windshield washer fluid reservoir, and it's got a ton of duct tape. There's a bit of a story behind this. My brother used to own this car, Jacob. When he was 19 years old, this started leaking on him. So the solution was, like any other 19-year-old, to just wrap a bunch of duct tape on it. And can you believe it has been over a decade and it actually hasn't leaked? So other than being quite the eyesore when you take the bumper off, it's functioned fine, but its time has come because we're gonna mount our oil cooler in this area. I figured it was a good idea to put it here rather than clog up the front there, where we're gonna eventually put a front mount. So off to the side is the way to go, in my opinion. I don't know if I drop this, it may just fall down, so I have to be kind of careful here. Oh, I can see you used zip ties too, that little bugger. See, it's not gonna come right off like I expected it to.
There it is.
Oh, it's even got overspray from this area here where the battery rotted. So this isn't the prettiest spot. This is probably like the worst spot on this car. The battery rotted out here, and instead of painting it red, Jacob decided to use some red primer.
Kids, huh?
Oh, the joys of being a teenager. I can't even unplug this because it's like so wrapped up in tape. There are a lot of options how to mount this. A lot of people would mount it like this. Mm-hmm. A lot of people would also potentially mount it like this. But I'm gonna move this all the way back here, actually very close to the fender well. And the reason for that is I know the HKS intercooler piping that I had comes up into this area and up into the engine bay this way. So moving this further back, I think there's really no negative to it other than it gives me real estate for intercooler piping in the future, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only negative is it's not right out in the nose of the car where it's going to get direct airflow, but right. We can fix that with ducting if we're worried about it.
The bumper that I have has a large opening here, so air's just going to be
pounding in there and
getting through there without any issue.
And the factory RX-8 oil cooler sat way at the back there, like you're proposing to do. And
yeah, I know. I think the Porsche ones are also done really far back. I was thinking, man, maybe there might be some wheel contact, but I don't have big enough wheels for anything like that. We're not going drifting.
Yeah.
So I think we're good with that aspect. And
in terms of construction, I should mention, if you watched our Celica oil cooler install, I mentioned it's drawn cup construction, which I said I didn't know what it was, which I've fixed.
Now you do?
I went and did some homework and discovered that drawn cup construction actually refers to, this is a tube and fin design, and these tubes are actually two plates that sandwich together and create an oil passage that's integrated into the end tanks. And that style of construction is called drawn cup. And the benefit of that is that it's both very strong and very lightweight. Apparently it's much lighter than a bar and plate style cooler.
It does feel light.
But it's also very strong. Yeah. And it's also got tiny little fins inside these tubes called, you can't see them, they're inside the tubes, called turbulators. And that actually helps promote heat transfer and also reduces pressure drop. So that's Dave's tech tip on drawn cup oil coolers.
And Pete's tech tip is, let's get to installing this.
Yes.
I've got my L bracket mounted up to the oil cooler, and I was thinking that I would riv nut it onto the chassis, but I'm just now thinking I should just weld this on, because really to have a solid sturdy base as the mount is ideal, and welding I think is the easier way to go in that sense. So we're gonna do that first. Okay, that looks good. Now it's time to bust out my old Miller Auto Set 140 Millermatic. So So now I've stuffed a piece of rubber grommet in between my nut and bolt, and we have tons of play, which is really nice. So we need to move on to this side and build another bracket here. So much bracket fabrication today. And here we have our second bracket. I just took a straight piece of really thick gauge metal and an L-shaped bracket. Drilled some holes, did the whole cut, weld, and drill deal. And that will be our second side here. I've got to put the screws in and the rubber grommets as well. But I'm also thinking we should probably put another bracket down here just in case we don't have any shift or movement this way, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Here's our third and final bracket. Again, did a quick little weld job of an L-tab onto a straight piece of metal. And at first, me and Dave thought we were just gonna weld this on, but then I realized that the gap between here and here has to be pretty precise. And not trusting myself with that, I decided we're just gonna riv nut it in place because that'll give us a little bit of leeway to get just enough adjustment if we need it to make it work.
Yeah, you can slot those holes a bit.
Yeah, if we need to,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
I got the Astro 1442 riv nut tool out again. Using it here like a champion. Gotta make sure, oh yeah, it's in place. And now we can finally mount this oil cooler up and see what we're dealing with for lines. We're moving on to the lines here. I think we've got ourselves a very sturdy oil cooler, which is excellent. So now it's time to run some very big fittings.
Yeah. Those dash, those aren't dash 10, are they?
I think they are dash 10.
Those are
yeah.
manly size fittings.
Yeah.
Bam, that's a lot of oil flow. Always a good sign when you buy a used motor with a defense filter on it, eh,
Nothing
PP?
but the best for this previous owner. Thankfully, we're not gonna make that mistake. We're gonna be running a 1010 K&N filter, our go-to brand for oil filters, and we picked up a Mishimoto thermostatic oil sandwich plate, oil cooler sandwich plate, I think that's what they call it. So I'm gonna throw this guy on here so we can get a good idea of measurement for our lines. First step, lots of lube, of course. And I've got to thank Ben Cork from the Ottawa area. He printed, or 3D printed, these neat hose end fitting tools that really make this job so much easier for us. So let's see how they work. Oh yeah. There we go. Slide it in. And these are usually pretty tough to do, the larger diameter of the hose that you get into. So that does feel like I've hit bottom. I'll double check. Yes, I have. Beautiful. That is in place. Now we'll use our aluminum jaws here from Vibrant to put the other side of the hose end in. So let's get this lined up here. More lube. And the hose goes. Now we gotta grab the AN wrench. I feel like if you guys have already watched me do this.
There's been a lot of this lately, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Pete wrestling with hose ends.
Making
in an awkward position.
Brackets and all this nonsense.
Making grunting noises while he tightens hoses.
It's all...
Throwing that on, huh? That's one way to do it.
Yes, it is. All right. So let's see what we are dealing with here. Looks like we've got a short little path right to there. I don't think there's anything else that's in this area that's going to interfere.
No.
So what do you think, DP?
Yeah, that's nice and simple.
Mark it.
Mark it, cut it.
Right in the middle. Oh, so satisfying.
Yeah,
man.
Love it.
That is good. And I think we should be all right. Bam! And there is our 45-degree fitting on the other end. We're not gonna bore you guys with all that fitting work instead. I know you want to see this all just come together. And let's see how good a job I did on that. I think we're good here. This is going to be really, really nice. Yeah, look at that. It's going to line up well. All right.
Pro spec, PT. That's pro spec.
I'm glad. So let's move on to the next one here. Double bam! Our hose is now done. So let's see if my fitment job is as good as my measuring.
So you're saying your measuring's really good?
Well,
Are you bragging about your measuring?
I thought my measuring was excellent, actually.
Talking a big game here.
Well, we'll see though. That lines up there nicely. And I kind of wanted it to run along like this, but I think I may have used a little too much hose. I don't know though. Looks pretty good.
It's going on there nice.
Yeah, it's going on. It is going on. It's on there, and if I can get a zip tie onto there, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You forgot to order one of those
Oh, I
those
know.
fold holders from Vibrant?
Yeah, well, you can't win them all, you know?
We fit them up so hard the last few months.
I know.
You gotta give them a rest.
I know, but you know what I did order? Dun dun dun!
Ooh, yes.
The universal washer bottle kit. So because we got rid of the old one, I am now gonna figure out where to put this thing. So I figured this spot right here, this right here, using an existing hole, will be my placement for the windshield washer bottle, but apparently I tightened it so hard it was crooked there. So let's see how that goes. There we are. Oh yeah. Let's see how that fits. It's gonna be nice, tucked away real nicely. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it in here now, but let's see. Get that rubber line off of there. Nope. Come on, girl. That's what I get for trying to use an existing bolt hole. It's so close, DP.
Just jam it in there.
I'm trying. It doesn't want to go. Well, damn it. It was so good. It was supposed to be perfect. It was gonna fit. If I can get it in here once, I'll never have to take it off. The plastic's bending. The plastic's bending, no. No.
Don't ruin your brand new.
There was way too much overthinking going on there. Me and DP were talking about drilling a hole right here to mount the reservoir just a little bit off. So there was a lot of this opening here for a future intercooler pipe. But you know what? That is the future. And we need to be thinking about the present right now, which means this large hole and this large flat-sized nut and washer on the back of it are perfect to mount this setup on. So, done.
All right, let's see if we can get this bad boy on there.
Well, before I do that, I gotta get the existing
Oh yeah, the hose on there.
hose onto there. Look at that, slides on like a champ. And
Oh,
boom,
too easy.
done. Beauty.
Too easy.
Sweet. Well, it's that time again. Cross another item off of this list. We are slowly getting there. I think the next episode, we're just gonna tackle a bunch of random small things that I wanna get done before we move on to doing the oil pan, because I think that's gonna be a pretty significant job. So as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure to hit the notification bell to stay on top of all these videos and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you're feeling generous, throw us a couple bucks at Patreon. That always helps us make more videos. He sent us these really neat 3D printed hose end tools that hold the end fitting in place, so you can just perfectly slide in. Yeah,